Hello and welcome to part 4, which is about using icons, photographs, drawings, vector art, illustrations in general. And let's begin talking about something called the picture superiority effect. Now, if you go to a seminar on, well, anything actually these days, you might have seen this statistic. It is alleged that It is alleged that people remember only 10% of what they hear, 20% of what they read, and 80% of what they see. Or you might have seen that 65% of us are visual learners, and therefore we should be teaching and learning visually. Unfortunately, neither of that is exactly true. I mean, the general trend is true, but the exact statistics apparently were just made up. There's no good evidence for those exact numbers, and in general, there's no good evidence for existence of any learning styles at all. That said, however, good news is that about 30% of the brain is involved in visual processing only, and about 20 to 30% of the brain is involved in visual processing, among other things. So, visual system is the most important system in the brain. All of us are visual learners, not just 65%. Secondly, there's a branch of science called cognitive neurophysiology. Those people attempt to measure how much information passes through various senses. I understand this is an approximation, but taste and smell are the slowest senses, and hearing and seeing are the fastest, with seeing being slightly faster than hearing. We can read at the rate of about 40 bits of information, and we can hear at the rate of about 30 bits of information, which is another reason for you not to put too much text on the slide, because people read slightly faster than you can talk. Now, apart from conscious information, there's something called unconscious information. I will clarify what that is in a second. And once again, I understand that the numbers are approximate, but 1000 kilobits per second for touch and an amazing 10,000 kilobits per second for seeing. This is the fastest, by far, this is the fastest sense we have. Now, what exactly is unconscious information? When you see a picture, suppose this is a picture of a snake, some of you, most of you, I think, get scared, and people get scared without any analysis. We're not trying to identify whether this is a danger, where the snake is poisonous. We get scared on the instant. And this happens because the visual processing is very fast. Our life depends on that. Just one word, snake, doesn't nearly scare us. And this is the difference between conscious and unconscious information. And of course, when we process information unconsciously, we process a lot more, and we process the whole picture in just 1 second, or probably even less. And this is something called the picture superiority effect. There's some debate about how exactly that works, but I think the general consensus is there. You can check the Wikipedia page if you'd like. And the general consensus is that retention, persuasiveness, and impact is the worst for plain text only information. Text accompanied with pictures works slightly better, and pictures accompanied with live human being work even better than that. Numbers are different in all the experiments I saw. Let me just give you one example for you to understand what those experiments are about. In this particular experiment, about 90 people were split into two groups. They were patients at a hospital, and they were given a rather powerful antibiotic called amoxicillin. And to one of the groups, to the control group, traditional text-only instructions for medication were given, and to the second group, the intervention group they call it, an instruction like this was given, accompanied with pictograms. And this is the difference between the control group and the intervention group. Better understanding, and what's even more important, better adherence, which in this context means that the people are actually taking the antibiotics they were prescribed. And the difference is not 10 times, it's not 100 times, but it is statistically significant, and I think it is, well, humanly significant, because this is medicine which saves lives. So I think we should be using pictures, well, any chance we get. And this is probably quite sad information, but even meaningless pictures improves attractiveness of the text. So, I don't know, go ahead and insert any pictures if you have a chance. Problem with pictures, of course, is that they are expensive. You spend a lot of time finding them, but they work, so I encourage you to illustrate your points. Now, as you probably know, there are pictures that are more abstract, which work like, I don't know, Chinese characters, which remind us of real-life objects rather than represent those real-life objects. And there are pictures which are very concrete, very detailed, which look exactly like real-life object, and there's a whole spectrum of things in between. Now, abstract pictures, we use them to explain and probably to remind people about things. With them, bigger does not always mean better. If you make the picture bigger, you don't see any additional detail, so there isn't much to learn from that picture. And we mostly use those pictures to illustrate bullet points because they work in small sizes. For bigger pictures, for more detailed pictures, we use them to impress and to prove, and with them bigger means better. So if you have any chance of going full screen with those kinds of pictures, I encourage you to do so. And we use them to illustrate headers. Now, here's the question. How many pictures can you have on one slide? And the answer is actually pretty obvious in the hint side. You can have one picture for the header and or one picture for each of the bullets. Suppose you have this kind of a slide with 4 bullets, and you can use an emotional, well, this is not exactly very emotional, but it makes the slide look kind of better. You can use this big picture, you can use 4 smaller pictures to illustrate bullets, or if you so wish, you can use both photograph and 4 icons. So, one picture for the header, and I don't know how many bullets do you have on your slides. It's totally up to you. If that's no more than 6, that's fine with me as well. That said, let's begin our journey talking about pictograms.